Hi, what's going on? My name is Anand. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up your custom tracking domain inside SendMails.io. So setting up a custom tracking domain is really important because when you're tracking your opens and click inside SendMails.io, you want to use your own domain so that you get the best deliverability. In this video, I'm going to show you step-by-step process to set up your custom tracking domain. So to set up your custom tracking domain, head over to your Sendings tab, expand it and click on Trackings Domain, where you will be getting an interface like this. And you have two different options to set up your custom tracking domain. One is to host redirect verification and second is DNS CNAME verification. Both of them are really simple, but the first method is only going to work if you have a PHP server. So if you're using WordPress, it is gonna work for you. But if not, then I would recommend that you stick to the second method, which is a DNS CNAME verification. So in most cases, I'm assuming people might or might not be using a WordPress website. That's why the first method that I'm going to show you is the DNS/CNAME verification method. But I just want to give you a quick disclaimer that if you're using the second method, do not switch to the HTTPS method. Make sure you just stick to the HTTP method. HTTPS method is not going to work when you're using DNS/CNAME verification. Over here, you need to create a custom tracking domain, and for any tracking domain that you create, make sure that you're adding a subdomain just before your domain. For example, I'm going to take an example of sasbirdie.com. This is my domain, but I cannot directly put this domain, so I need to put a subdomain just over here. I'm gonna put it as track.sasbirdie.com. Make sure you're not putting your primary domain as a tracking domain, otherwise your website is going to corrupt. So never put your primary domain as a tracking domain. You want to create a custom subdomain to track your opens and clicks. So I have added a subdomain as track.sasbirdie.com. You can put whatever you want. Just make sure you add a subdomain right before your domain. So I have track dot and whatever is my domain over here. And then click on save. We're using DNS/CNAME verification. Please keep that in mind. So as soon as you do that, over here you can see the tracking domain is now added. Now if I click on this track.sasbirdie.com, it's still not verified. And how do we verify this? If I go to this link, right, it should ideally open, which is not happening right now. So there are instructions that I need to follow over here, and the instructions are that I need to create a DNS record inside my DNS zone editor, which is very simple to do. Whether you're using GoDaddy, Hostinger, all of domain providers give you a DNS zone editor. If you're not able to find a DNS zone editor, just search for whatever is your domain provider name, let's say GoDaddy, and DNS zone editor, right? And you will get a step-by-step article on how to find your DNS zone editor. In fact, you'll get a lot of videos to find your DNS zone editor. For me, I'm using a Hostinger domain provider, so I'm going to quickly search for DNS over here, and I'm getting a DNS zone editor over here, which is where I can make changes in my DNS record. So I want to create a new DNS record, which is very simple to do. Now the DNS record that I need to create is of a CNAME type, right, which is over here. So let's just change this type to CNAME, and I just need to copy my subdomain. I don't need to copy the entire thing. Just copy the track, put it over here, because it automatically append the rest of it after the subdomain. So I just need to put track, and then the rest of it is automatically going to be appended, and then I need to copy the value, which is app.sendmails.io. So I'm going to copy from here, paste it over here, and that's it. Click on add record. Now, depending on your domain provider, it might take up to 48 hours to reflect the changes. So you have added the record, but it might not propagate immediately. Keep that in mind. It might not propagate immediately. So you need to have some patience. And after that, once you verify this, your custom tracking domain will start working. So let me just give it a try now, right? It might not work because, like I said, it take up to 48 hours to propagate the changes. But in my case over here, you can see track.sasbuddy.com has already started working, which means I can use it as my custom tracking domain. So now if I go back here and if I refresh, look at this. The status has now changed to verified. Now I have my custom tracking domain successfully working. So that's one of those ways how you connect your custom tracking domain. Now let me just show you the second method to add your custom tracking domain. Alright, so the second method is going to be uploading the script inside your website. And it only works if you have a PHP website, which means if you have a WordPress website, it's going to work for sure. So over here you can see I have host redirect verification. Now for host redirect verification, I can also use HTTPS method because I'm going to use my own server to keep a track. Whereas in case of DNS/CNAME verification, I could only use the HTTP method because the SSL is going to be managed by us, and for your domain we do not have any SSL installed in our server, so you have to stick to HTTP method. So one of the advantage of using host redirect verification is that you also get to use the HTTPS method. Now here let's take another subdomain. I'm gonna name it as tracking.sasbuddy.com. Right, this is what I'm going to use it as tracking domain, and that's it. So I've just added tracking.sasbuddy.com over here. Now I'm going to click on view. Over here it says install the tracking script, right? So I need to install the tracking script on my subdomain. I'm not going to install it on my primary domain, otherwise it's going to break my website. I aware you about this. Do not make this mistake of installing this script in your primary website. You need to create a subdomain with the name tracking.sasbuddy.com, right? Again, your hosting provider does allow you to create subdomains where you can host your website. I'm going to put a couple of links on how you can host your website on a subdomain for different providers. For hosting it, I'm going to show you step by step how do you do that. But for GoDaddy and for all the other domain providers, I'm going to put some links, some reference link to find out how to create a subdomain, right? So over here for hosting it, I'm going to search for subdomains, which is over here, as you can see. Now here I'm going to create my subdomain as tracking.sasbuddy.com, right? So let me just put tracking.sasbuddy.com. And I'm going to create a custom folder obviously for this. So I'm going to name it as tracking, right? Public HTML/tracking and create. That's it. So my subdomain is now created. If I go to this subdomain, it should ideally work. All right, it's working. Now what I need to do is go to the file manager. Okay, open my file editor, which is where I'm going to upload the script. So let me just go back and download the script that we got from SendMails.io. So this is the tracking script. I need to download it from here. All right, I have just downloaded the script right now. And there are two files in the tracking script package, index.php.htxs. So make sure both files are uploaded to the tracking domains hosting server, right? Now, how do I upload it? Go to my file manager, and as you have seen, one second, let me just go back to my domain. Yes, this is my domain. And here inside my domain, I've added tracking folder. I've created a tracking folder which is connected with my subdomain tracking.sasbirdie.com. So I'm going to open my tracking folder over here. I already have a default file which I'm going to delete. Now I need to upload my zip file that I just downloaded, which is this one. I open it. Okay, it's already installed. Now I just need to extract it. Extract. Okay, let's just put the current folder. To do that, you just need to put a dot and yeah, extract. All right, you now have your index.php and htaccess file created over here. That's it. Now let me go back to tracking.sasbirdie.com once again. So over here we are getting a message that says tracking domain is ready. Right, now let's just go back here. All right, so let's just test the tracking domain, and I'm going to click on test tracking domain, and the tracking domain is successfully verified. So click OK, and it's going to automatically refresh the page. So over here you can see my tracking domain is installed. So one thing to keep in mind, that when you're using the file upload method, which is a script upload method, the first method, you can always use HTTPS. But if you're using DNS/CNAME verification method, you need to use only HTTP method, because the SSL is not automatically going to be installed. So feel free to choose any of these methods. If you have any questions, drop it down in the comment below. I'll be happy to help you out. I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.